They've done it. They've done it. They've done it. The Blues win 6-1 over Utah, and we are in the playoffs.
We are
Welcome into
back.
Blues Hub Postgame, the Blues Hub Postgame show presented by Hot Shots right here on Sports Hub STL, which is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Joined here by Mike Meyer, and whew, it feels good to be back, doesn't it, Mike?
Oh man, it is. This was such an improbable run here from them, but I am so happy to be aboard this train and so happy here for this team.
I mean, that's really the best way to put it. I mean, everything collided together. It was a season that all the way up until February, and even after February, we're saying play out, seasons, a foregone conclusion. We're already done with it. Not a big deal. Let's worry about the off season. Regroup for next year. We'll have a better team next year. Still how it's looking we'll have a better team next year. But as of right now, we got a good team this year. And we got that number 2 wild card spot with the Wild winning tonight in overtime. Somehow they still managed to win, but honestly happy for them. And Marc-Andre Fleury's probably his last regular season game there, getting the picking up part of that overtime win there as well. So big shout out to the home state Minnesota Wild, of course. But Blues still win. All they needed to do. And man, did they do it. So let's get into tonight. I mean, 6-1. So many fantastic things happened tonight. And just to start on that first period, 4-0 after the first 20 minutes. You got Schenn getting on the board to start. Buchnevich following him up. Snuggerud, first NHL goal on the power play. And then Bolduc as well on the power play with an absolute piss missile from the top of the circle. Ovechkin-esque wrister on the power play as well. I mean, that was just the best way to start that important of a game, and it was given back to the Blues games that we saw right at the beginning of that 12-game win streak.
I think my favorite part here about tonight was, my kids 7, 5, and 4. They're getting more and more into watching hockey, and every single time the Blues scored here in this, they're like, "Daddy, they scored again! They scored again!" And even my wife, when they scored the fourth goal, she goes, "Again?" So like this was, I mean, everybody's getting into this. This is absolutely just such a fantastic time here to be a Blues fan, such a fantastic time to be a hockey fan, but especially for, like, I mean, again, like these young kids, like, who don't know, like, they're just excited for it. They're so happy here for this. And the fact that they get able to share this here with Daddy right now, like, I mean, this is just such a great time to hear to be a father. Just again, so happy, just elated here here for this Blue squad.
And I mean, just talking about the game today, or especially just let's go through. I think the best way we can just dissect this game is honestly just goal by goal, because that was easily this is easily the best way to dissect. Those were the biggest moments of the game, and it started with that Schenn goal. I mean, everyone was thinking, "Oh, Snuggerud's going to take this down. He's going to bury one, put it away for first goal on the breakaway." Got denied, but I mean, Schenn right behind him to bury it away. Great awareness by Schenn to stick with him, and then he gets that first goal of the game in a perfect way for the Blues to open up this game.
Yeah, and I don't think that you can be able to talk about this goal without also talking about just the quick little itty bitty flip that Buchnevich makes here to Snuggerud. And we can be able to get here into his play here again for the second goal. But Buchnevich was an absolute man on a mission here right now. And I'm saying, like, if he's not going to put the puck in the back of the net, he's making the little itty bitty plays here to be able to help his team be able to put the points here on the board. So, again, you can't really be able to talk about any of this first period here without mentioning Buchnevich with having a connection in almost every single one of these goals.
And speaking of which, second goal of the game goes to Buchnevich in what I would arguably say is the biggest or one of the best passing team goals we've seen these past few months from the Blues. It was a beauty of a team goal, Buchnevich burying it away. That, I think, is a goal where, especially for me, I've always loved the team goals, those aspects of everything going together, and seeing everyone making an impact on a goal, and that was that second goal by Buchnevich.
Yeah, I love the effort here from him within the offensive zone. He gets the puck here to Neighbors, and then Neighbors just says, "Okay, nope, your turn," and just slides it right across here for him to just be able to get the empty net goal. I mean, again, for a guy who's been he's has fair share here of struggles throughout the season, and it was with that Four Nations break here that Buchnevich was really able to find new life here again, and he's been such a huge catalyst here for this team, and so. If there's anything that I'm hoping here for him is that he continues to be able to find that life here going into the postseason, at the very least, to be able to just continue to be a driving force. If there's anything you'll be able to see here, the Blues in their last 27 games, 24-3. And Buchnevich here was a large driver here of that success.
And just to also mention Snuggerud. So first of all, Buchnevich, not only does he get that goal, but also gets 2 assists in that first period as well. A 3-point night for Buchnevich, all in the first 20 minutes of the game. And then it gets followed up on the power play. Another one, just a classic Blues power play goals of recently. Shove it at the net, hope something deflects, goes in. And this time the benefactor is Jimmy Snuggerud, finally getting that first goal. And man, has he worked for it. Wasn't the prettiest, but hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
That's exactly it. Yep. And I believe the caption here was "Teach me how to snuggie." And boy, that was probably one of the least Snuggerud-esque type goals that you can possibly have drawn up here for his first career goal. Like you said, it doesn't matter how it goes in, just as long as it goes in the net. I'm super happy for him. But if you notice here, I'm going to jump ahead here just a little bit. But even going into the second period, I think his confidence was at an all-time high. He was taking shots and whiffs at that puck any single place that he can possibly be able to get it. I mean, you're looking at a guy and a kid who was definitely riding a high of scoring his first NHL goal.
So let's take a break before we get into the remaining 3. Take a look at some of the chat a little bit. I mean, this is before we go obviously any further. Big thank you to every single fan that has obviously not just been cheering on the Blues, but has been joining us here for these post games. It's been such an amazing ride. Through these past couple of months with the Blues success here, and having you guys come along with the ride has been just amazing. And it's really made these post-game shows even easier to get through, even after, like that loss against Edmonton. It was a lot easier to, push through and make these post-game shows so much more entertaining and amazing. So we can't thank you guys enough for joining us here, especially on some of the late night shows that we've had. I.e. the Oilers game at midnight to 12:15. So looking at some of the chat, the biggest thing right now, obviously Robert Thomas comes out of the game with a lower body injury. What is being heard is that just, getting, end of the stick in his inner thighs. What's one of the thoughts or one of the ideas of what could have happened. If it is that, nothing. That's really nothing. It's just kind of got hit night, probably, got a cramp or something. Doesn't feel good. Take him out just to be safe. You don't want to be, especially not with who's easily the Blues' best player right now. I mean, he got his 60th assists of the season on that Bolduc goal. So, I mean, you really can't afford to not have him, in the playoffs.
Right.
So,
this is a huge beneficial time for them to be done with the season. They clinch the playoffs and give Robert Thomas a couple of days here of extra rest. I would have to believe, I mean, unless it's something like we're not seeing here, I have to imagine he's going to be ready here for game 1.
Yeah. Now looking again at the chat, Walker was a man possessed blocking shots this evening, going to be black and blue tomorrow. That's something that obviously, Walker tonight was one of the biggest ones, but we've seen this from the Blues this entire stretch. And it's been the best, arguably one of the best things for me. I mean, when I played hockey, I was a winger. So I wasn't really, like the most defensive guy, but I love seeing defensive plays. I love seeing block shots. I love seeing defensemen getting back on back checks, making ridiculous poke checks or stick lifts. And I mean, the shots tonight, take a look at some of the numbers, 21 block shots. So another 20 plus shot block game for the Blues to just the 11 by Utah, which, I mean, again, what they're doing to get, obviously Bennington playing incredible, Hofer's playing incredible, but the defense is still making sure that their job is still just a little bit more easier to make sure they can get some of these wins. And it's just been massive seeing that defensive step up from every single part, and then converting that into the offense is what they're doing right now. But just to see laying it all out, it really says this is a team that's all in right now.
And what even helps this here as well, Matthew DeFrank's posted this up here before the start here of the game. The Blues are starting Toropchenko, Foxa, and Walker for the 13th time in 25 games since the start of the Four Nations break. If this is not a coach who has trust in their fourth line, I don't know what else that signals. That's unheard of to be able to start that line that many times here with so much on the line here, with playoff aspirations here, to be able to say that you're going to start these guys 13 times in 25 games, that it just says a lot. And this just goes to show the work that these three have been able to put out there each and every single game. And so again, like when you're starting this line, it sets the tone for the entire game. And the fact, again, that you've got a guy here in Walker who's leading the league here in hits. I believe I saw just the other night, you've got Toropchenko here working here as just a man possessed. And I think he's revitalized his game here just quite a bit, even just year over year. And then the veteran experience here in Foxa. Man, this is a team, and this is a line I absolutely would not want to go against, because again, they're going to be able to hit you, they're going to block the shots, and they're going to have a scoring threat each and every single time they're on the ice.
Quick, big thank you to Rena in chat, giving us the update from getting us some attention towards the Thomas thing. Obviously, I was just checking the Twitter there for a second. So thank you to Rena for bringing it to our attention, but also from the Blues, first reported by Jeremy Rutherford, but this is straight from Montgomery, that just precautionary. That's all it was. So he should be fine.
Yeah, there you
that
go.
is the hope. And you still, I think the positive now for the Blues is they have, I'm pretty sure, almost a full week off before the playoffs start. There's some teams that don't end their season until, I want to say, Friday, at the latest, maybe Thursday.
I think Thursday's the last game.
Sounds about right.
Check this. I believe it's Thursday.
That sounds more correct than me. Yes,
Thursday.
So Thursday is, yeah. So Thursday will be the last one, but the playoffs don't start till, I believe, next Tuesday, if I am correct. I obviously will have to double check that. But either way, Blues will get a good amount of rest. And the one thing I definitely noted on, which has been nice as of recent, but the Blues really haven't had that much rest in this stretch following the Four Nations break. I think their biggest break was probably, I'm looking at the schedule right now. I'm seeing so many 2-game. It was after the Kings, between the Kings and the Penguins games was the longest break, and that was a 4-game break. Since then, every game has been 1 or 2 games in between, 1 or 2 days, in between. And before that, it looked very similar. So it's going to be huge. So they got, looking over here, blast start Saturday 19th. So thank you to Real American Intelligence in the chat for the info. Appreciate it. That's why we have you guys here, because as much as we're on screen, but we're not all knowing. Far from it, but
at least I'm not.
I'm far from it. I know that. So thank you guys. But yeah, so now we're looking at, a week and a half even for a nice long break for the Blues to obviously rest, get bodies somewhat healthy before the break. Even if it's just a couple days more than the other team, it's still nice to have just 2 extra days. Again, they get a little bit more time also to retool, refresh, and get ready against the Jets team that they've struggled against just as of recently. Had some difficulty throughout the season, but of course, Jets are President's Trophy winners, and I'd love to see when the last time the Blues took on a President's Trophy winner in the playoffs. If someone in the chat could hopefully get that to me, that would be great. But to go back to this game, obviously, going through these goals, we now skip ahead for Bolduc's goal. On the power play with that rip of a shot from the top of the circles. Bolduc, again, I believe that was his 7th power play goal of the season, if I'm not wrong.
Team leading.
Yep. Team high. Thank you, Mike. Team high of power play goals with 7. And he has been lethal from all over the ice on the power play. And obviously that is just a piece of it. And we've seen, obviously, Snuggerud did it. We've seen the Blues move the puck around. We've seen Kyrou get in on power play scoring. But Bolduc again strikes. Jamie Rivers hit the nail right on the head, was saying that, he's thinking there was going to be a power play goal by Bolduc tonight. And wouldn't you know, right there, he slams it home in the final minute of the first. And after that, it just felt like, obviously the Blues didn't make it too easy, but it did feel like they were kind of coasting after that. And for once, it didn't feel like they were just, coasting and, Utah took advantage. Even though they did score the power play goal, because Clayton Keller, I mean, he can't not score against the Blues in St. Louis. But I mean, he's a St. Louisan, so I'll let him pass for that. Even the second period, they didn't score that much, or I shouldn't say they didn't score at all. But it still felt like they had control of the game in that second period, something we haven't seen too often, even though they got outshot in the second period as well, 14-9. But, I mean, again, after that goal, it just seemed like they were coasting into the third and then retook control as well.
Yeah, and to your point here about Keller, I'm glad if it's going to be somebody who's going to score here from Utah, Arizona, whoever, that we're classifying them here as, I'm glad that it was Clayton Keller. But to your point, I kept an eye here on this 50-50 here at 5-on-5 here for the first period, which absolutely does not seem like here for a Corsi 4 percentage. 48.15% here for the Blues in the second period, and then 31.82%, again, 5-on-5 Corsi 4 percentage. So this just goes to show you that as the game went on, Utah just continued to possess the puck more and more and more. And it definitely seemed like that, here during the second period, when you look at them and the Blues were outshot 14-9. But it absolutely did not seem like that when the Blues did outshoot 8-4 here in the third period. But yeah, this was absolutely a game that the Blues, even though that Utah may have continued to dominate more and more here as the game went on, that's where, the block shots started to be able to come in handy. That's where, goaltending came in handy. That's where neutral zone play here came in handy. They were able to tighten up here as much as possible. They did rest here, like you said, a little bit more here on that 4-0 lead here with it after the first period. But, again, this is a team that just continues to find a way over and over and over. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing here up against the President Trophy winning, the regular season winning champions. Because that's what you're going to say, because you're going into a second season here at this point in time. And so, you're going to go up here against the top dog. And so as this team continues to find more and more ways to win games, be able to just pull out here, whether it's from behind or continue to hold off here on a lead, this team just continues to find a way. And again, that's where I'm not a person who would want to be able to go up against the Blues here right now.
So to wrap up the scoring summary, of course, Big Ruzi getting 2 goals to wrap it up. The thing I love about Kyrou so far is that, he's been scoring so much, but to me, obviously he hasn't had the super dazzling goals like we've seen in recent years, but he's putting up the numbers because I don't know if it's just a switch in the game or what it is, but I don't even know if it's just he's playing different, but somehow he's just putting himself in the right position to score goals. And that's kind of what we saw tonight with those 2 goals. And that's what he's done all season is he gets goal 35 and 36 on the season, a 35 plus goal season. I think that was one away as well from his career high of 37, which he got a couple years ago. But still, he's finding ways to get goals. And tonight, didn't get the super fancy highlight reel goals. He had more of the clean it up in front of the net kind of goal, But I mean, hey, again, they don't ask how, they ask how many. And that's 36 now for Kyrou.
Yeah, and this is where, you start to find a lot of this success come after a guy, especially a goal scorer, finds his way here like into his fourth season. They figure that it's the fourth season is the traditional breakout year here for a lot of these scorers, especially when they're coming up here in the NHL. You know, Kyra's only 26. He's pretty much here like at peak physical abilities here right now here for himself. So 36 goals when you play 4 seasons, you're typically here at what's the math? 328 here, give or take. If you play 82 games here for 4 straight seasons, that's 328 games. Well, Jordan Kyrou here is roughly over 400 here right now. And so you're really finding a breakout position here for him that he's really found his way here into the NHL. He's really acclimated here to the speed. He's gotten his man body here, as you keep able to say, his man speed. And so this is a guy who's really kind of just found his stride here within the NHL. And this is where, I mean, again, you really have to figure out, is he going to be a consistent number one right winger? Is he a second line right winger? Because if not, I mean, he's a poor man's top line and a very good second line, which is a really good problem to have here for the Blues, but you're still trying to be able to find out, I guess a good sweet spot here for him.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you just summed it up perfectly there. I mean, and we've seen it a lot with a lot of these players. Sometimes it takes them a while. They have, sometimes we have like a first or second, almost like a honeymoon season where they put up a lot of points or a lot of goals, kind of like what we saw from Kyrou, and then followed it up with, a little bit less, 10 less, 15 less goals in the season, and everyone's freaking out. But Kyrou's right back to where he was, which, is exactly what you want to see from it. And exactly, I mean, it's what you want to see from a player like that, where, he's not just looking for the highlights. He's not just looking for the big rips, the absolute snipes. He can still fire the puck at will. We saw so many times this year just sniping pucks from the slot, but he's just finding ways to score goals, just like the rest of this team. And now they're in the playoffs because of it. That's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. And I think, one thing that can't go unnoticed, and there was a point here in the comments that was made, and I was going to be able to circle back here to this in just a minute, but the number of rebound goals I think that we have seen here as well, that's no coincidence. That's absolutely a structure-based system that we have seen, that these Blues have developed. And when you have as many big-bodied forwards, big-bodied defensemen, every single one of these guys who's regardless if you're the F1 or F2 here coming in here on the play, that F2 here is absolutely just ready to go, ready to engage and make sure that they're just ready to bury the rebound. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch even just D3 the Mighty Ducks and come back, find the empty net, find the trash here on the doorstep, and make sure you're just crashing the net here just constantly. That's a really good analogy. They're picking up bagels and they're throwing them here at the net. This Blues team here is constantly finding the bagels here in front of the net, and they're just cashing them in here just left and right. So that's absolutely a great point here that was made here in the comments, and something that is leading to a lot of Blues success right now.
But just to throw this out there, that is the worst Mighty Ducks movie. Out of
for sure. Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And also just to mention, one, that first Mighty Ducks is so incredibly wrong. Not only as a hockey player, but as a Minnesotan, there's more than just Minneapolis that would be in a state tournament. Just want to put that out there, and also can't take a helmet off during a penalty shot. That's pretty straightforward, all levels. Definitely, certainly not in Pee Wee hockey. And also it has changed a little bit. You're not allowed to check in Pee Wees. You can't check at 12, 13 years old anymore, which is honestly probably a good thing. But look at the chat right now. Moondoggy 78 bold prediction. Who will be the Blues leading goal scorer be in the playoffs? I think I have my pick right now, but I'll start with you, Mike. Who do you got?
Goal scorer is going to be an interesting one, because if you're looking here at, I really want to be able to know if Dylan Holloway is going to be healthy. I don't think he is. And the reason why I bring up Dylan Holloway, a lot of people are saying that he's not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready. Well, the NHL has been very, very coy here recently, like, well, he may not be, I don't know, like, oh, look, he's back all of a sudden, I don't know, like, oh, I'm surprised. Okay, come on. So Dylan
Pareto did just
Holloway,
return out of nowhere, so
yeah,
it's
exactly.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think if Dylan Holloway is healthy, I'm going to go Holloway. But if he's not healthy, I'm going to have to go. Is it too safe of a pick to go with Jordan Kyrou? I mean,
Okay, that was gonna be my pick because I'm a little biased. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the comment after that after the thought. Well, pick up the phone and ask someone, Mikey. Thanks, Paul. That's a that's a good one. I mean, obviously, my bias is towards Jordan Kyrou. I think he's just gonna have another explosion of a
Yeah.
playoff series. So I think. I think I think it'll be like, Thomas, I think will lead the way points again. I think Kyrou will be up there. But if it's not him, I'm gonna go on a limb and probably go with Bushnevich. Agree with Real American Intelligence. Go with Bucci because I think because of his style, it fits a lot of kind of like the playoff hockey style
Yeah.
you need to play, and his grittiness of how he gets to areas to score goals.
Hmm.
I think that'll pay off pretty good for him in the playoffs if Kyrou gets shut down by the Jets. Um,
Yeah. And,
yeah.
and you're really starting to see him come alive here recently. So you're looking at 1 goal, 2 assists here tonight. Another 1 goal, 2 assists here in Edmonton. One, two, three, 4 goals here within, from Edmonton here back to Pittsburgh. One, two, three, four, 5 goals within his last 6 games. So, you know, that's a great sign here of things to come. This is a guy who's getting hot here at the absolute right time. I hope that the break doesn't really cool off anything here for Buchnevich, but it just kind of just helps reinvigorate him, give him some more energy here at that point. So, yeah, Buchnevich I think is a good pick.
So taking a look at one of the stat, and this was a stat line I really, really enjoy. And even going back to the Jets game, we've seen it so much from the Blues here recently. But in the past, I can't even remember how many games. I believe there's only one game where they've given up 30 plus shots. And in the past 4 games, the highest they've given up is 26, and that was to the Jets in that 3-1
Mhm.
loss, pretty much 2-1 with the empty netter. But that's something we've seen. And it's something I have not seen in a long time. A team that does not allow, 30 plus shots in, not just 1 in 5 games, but 1 in 15. Like it's insane. And a part of that too is the shot blocking. But again, I talk about the defensive side. Um, they're doing such a great job of limiting shot chances in general. They're forcing plays to the outside. They're taking away options from the point. I think it's just I want to know who's in charge of the positioning for the Blues and getting their defense set up because I think they need a raise and maybe be for a spot in a head coaching position in the NHL. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Otter, but man, they defensively it goes unnoticed because it doesn't get you any points on the board. But their defensive game has just been chef's kiss is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and this is where you start to see the additions, of Claude Julien really start to be able to come into play. That's here, and not to be able to mention the veteran experience. I mean, again, the Blues have had so much crap all season long, just about, this is a senior citizen, center here, on this blue line. And while I can't disagree with that here at all, this has
Welcome to
been
St.
such,
Louis.
yes, this has been such a great thing, especially when a guy like Colton Parayko went down, that you had veterans who were all able to be able to step up. And now that you're going in here into the postseason, these are guys who are not going to be phased at all. These guys know exactly what to be able to do. They know exactly how to be able to play the Winnipeg Jets. Now, whether they can be able to keep up, that's a completely different story. But they have also been able to show that they can be able to do that. My biggest concern here still is a guy in Justin Falk. He at times here has been looked a little suspect, making some bad plays, but I mean, again, you're still getting here into the playoffs, and so maybe if there's a way that they can try to limit his role, especially if they're trying to hold on to a lead, Justin Falk, I think, is a guy who potentially should be on a little bit of a shorter leash, and maybe even get some third line deployment. That's just me.
I mean, we can see, and obviously the question will be because of the switch ups with Parayko being back. You still got Tucker and
Kessel.
why? Oh yeah, Kessel. Yes. Sorry, Tucker and Kessel, which are pretty much, they could easily be a bottom four defense pairing on
Hmm.
20, if not 25 of 32 teams in the NHL. And they unfortunately have to sit out, you're trying to, obviously you want Falk out there with the veteran presence,
Hmm.
Falk. I mean, you even go back to when he was with the Hurricanes. I still remember that one series, he was just lighting it up for no reason at all. Shortly before he came over to the Blues. So he knows what it's like to be in those positions. That was the 2018 or 2018, 2019. That was that season when he lit it up before coming over to the Blues right after the Cup run. So he knows the position they're in. And the most recent time he was in this spot, he did an incredible job. I mean, obviously it's been 5-6 years now, but I think he still has the veteran presence. There is also, some spots where a lot of people say, why not give Tucker the chance? Which
Hmm.
I wouldn't say is a bad idea either. That's kind of the double-edged sword of this. It's Tucker's good. We've seen what he can do. He's younger. He's got the speed. But Falk has so much experience, and especially in these
Yeah.
playoffs, we've seen what he can do. And if he plays even half of his game that we've seen, then he'll be just a perfect defenseman that will be, just you might not say anything about him, but that's a good time to not say anything about him because he's just doing the right things that go unnoticed. And
Yeah. Yeah. And the tough part is right now, especially, like I've been kind of, you've got so much experience, you're not going to break up Fowler and Pareko. There's no way. Broberg and Falk is where you can maybe do that. Suter, you're not gonna take him out. It's Letty and Falk on the second and third pairing. That's where it gets a little interesting. And I don't know. I mean, again, playoffs are a completely different animal. Playoffs are you do want to be able to have the experience, but you also want to be able to have the guys who can be able to play responsibly. And so that's where I think, again, a guy like Justin Falk here, he's going to be limited. But do you limit him and be able to give Nick Leddy more ice time? Do you double shift Pareko, who's coming back from injury? Like it's going to be really interesting to see how Monty juggles all of this because again, Tucker's done everything that you've asked him to, and sometimes even more. And he's looked really good. Kessel is still sometimes he's there. He's
iffy.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get the full play time here just yet. I don't know if he sees really a lot of ice time, if any, here during the postseason. So that's where it's gonna be interesting decisions here for Monty, especially again like when it comes to two of the older vets here in Falk and Letty.
I will have to say that I think I'm slightly getting fried in the comments right now for mentioning how long ago that Falk breakout was. Uh, talking about, I think someone talking about a soccer game back in '83, and straight up that was 6 years ago. Lol. So yeah, just slightly fried, but that just means they love me, right? And just also saw it earlier on because I'm guessing a little out of the chat. Jeremy Hodge, who probably just joined us recently, asking how bad Tom's hurt. All good. Got what is believed to be a lower body injury of like a stick in the inner thigh, something like that. Monty said he's good directly from Blues on Twitter. So yeah, they're all good. So yeah, but yeah, again, talking about like it is so much like it's a bad time to have so many pieces. And I think the same thing goes with the forwards because you got two forwards who are sitting back that, Texier has experience. He's been here. He's been in the playoffs before, sparsely, but he's been there. And again, talk about Dvorsky. He hasn't seen as much ice time. He's had his time in the AHL. He's shown what he can do at a pro level, not at the NHL level, but at a pro level. They're kind of sitting by as well. So do you move them in at all? So again, you look at both sides. I think before we move on from, some of that spots, what do you think would, if anything possible movement wise, would happen? Or do you think Monty just maybe switches a few pieces around with what the lineup already looks like?
I don't think you mess with the lineup here really at all. The piece that's going to be interesting here for me is when it comes to Dvorsky, because Springfield, he's eligible. He's obviously eligible here for Springfield. He'll be able to play here in the postseason, and Springfield will be playing in the postseason. And so it's going to be very interesting to see if and when that Dvorsky goes back down, because he's a major, major component here for that second line and that second power play unit here for Springfield. And so like they've looked good, but obviously adding a Dvorsky here into the mix, like they're never going to turn that down. And the Blues have to really be able to weigh, do they hold on to Dvorsky, keep him here in the NHL ready to go in the break glass in case of emergency, or do they send him down to Springfield here right now so that he can be able to just get the ice time here in the postseason, also risking injury at that point? I think they play it safe and keep Dvorsky, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see if they make the move and say, okay, go back down. Again, I don't think they make the move. I think that they wait, and then if and when that the Blues are done here with the postseason, then he goes to Springfield.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that too is just if they're expecting the possibility of a deep run or not. If they're expecting to go all the way, then probably Dvorsky goes down because they're not going to hold him that long from Springfield. But of course, if you're thinking, hey, this is just going to be, a one and done, or, if we go two, maybe even more, that would be just as good, but not expecting to go, hey, we're going to go all the way, and find ourselves a cup here.
Yeah.
And Mike's back.
Yep. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Good. All good. And of course, like talking about looking at some of the chats here. Samuel House saying playoffs aren't for development. Let's win. You can kind of see that as a piece of it. Of course, we've seen it before where some teams have brought in brand new pieces right at the playoffs. I mean, look at what Cale Makar did, and he's a superstar. So he came in, first game was in the playoffs, and he scored his first goal in the playoffs. I mean, you never know. We could see something from Snuggerud. We can see something from Dvorsky if he comes up in a spot if need be, if it were to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I mean, obviously, I think the best way to put it, obviously, is playoffs aren't for development. That's, kind of an obvious piece. But at the same time, there's no better game to put a new player in than a playoff game, because that's the most pressured environment you could ever be in, both on and off the ice, in this, the atmosphere in the rink from the fans, the play on the ice. There's no, obviously you want to win those games, have the experience, as Mike's gone again. Now he's back again.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
Mike's just phasing out a little bit. So hopefully we don't lose again. But I mean, what would you think about giving some more of these young guns some shots here in the playoffs? Even if we are looking at possibly, looking at a deep run.
I don't think that you mess with that. I think that you just continue to push here as hard as you can. I think you lie here here on your veterans here as much as possible. I mean, it's great to be able to give them all the experience here as much as you can, but I think that you put your faith and your trust here into your top six here more than anything. And right now, Jimmy Snuggerud's here into that mix. I'll be very curious to see how much ice time he's going to get come playoffs. And even though he might be listed here among the top six, maybe he sees some reduced ice time. Don't really know. Also, again, that depends on how much and if and when Dylan Holloway comes back. So I think that you just continue to rely here on your veterans here just as much as possible. And I think you're going to see a bench get shortened here just as games continue to go along. If Blues need to be able to get a quick goal or whatever that the situation may end up being, I think that you potentially see just more and more reliance here upon those vets.
Before we get too far gone, just a reminder with the playoffs coming up soon, also some great opportunity for a chance to make some money. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. That is code STL Sports for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Excuse me, sorry. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Apologies for the kind of crappy ad read there. Still getting used to those a little bit. So hopefully I'll get it a lot more smoother next time we're out here on the on the post game shows for the postseason. So getting close to wrapping here. Obviously, just an exciting game. We always want to hear from you guys, and I think right now it's quickly already, in a course of not even an hour, we're thinking already of, we're in the playoffs too. Okay, what's now? What's next? So I think the best way to look at wrapping this up, let's look forward, give a little preview of, this game up against the series up against Winnipeg. The Blues this year are 1-3 against the Jets in the regular season. 3-2, 4-3, and 3-1 were the losses. 4-1 was the lone Blues win at the Canada Life Center, which I've been to a couple of times. And that is, I'm surprised they made it out of there in 2019. That is not an easy place to play. It's a relatively small rink, but Winnipeg is easily one of the best hockey fan bases I have ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen a hockey fan base clap for the most simple plays in my life. Just for making the right plays, they will cheer. And that's just how knowledgeable and how intense those fans are. So that's part of it. But obviously they win the President's Trophy again, or I shouldn't say again, but they win the President's Trophy for the first time in their program or in their team history. They got the Western Conference and also the Central with all of that on top of it. Best team in the league. Do the Blues stand a chance against arguably this, one of the best teams we've seen in a while in this Jets team, who really just look flat out great? I think is the best way to put it.
I think there's always a chance, but I think this series, plain and simple, comes down to goaltending. Absolutely. Plain and simple comes down here to goaltending. And while I think Montgomery is going to rely here on Jordan Binnington every single game, I also would not be surprised if one game, like if he feels that Binnington needs a break for whatever reason, he's got a very, very capable backup here in Joel Hofer that he can be able to rely here upon. But there's a reason why Hellebuck is performing as well as he is. I mean, he's one of the top goaltenders in the entire NHL. But I think that this, regardless of the depth here on both teams, regardless of Nikolai Ehlers being week to week here right now here for the Jets, regardless of Mark Scheifele, Robert Thomas, Jordan, whoever here is in this lineup, it's going to plain and simple come down to a goaltender's duel. And it has the potential to either be a very low scoring or even potentially very high scoring affair. But this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup that, again, I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to just how good both of these very capable goaltenders come out to play.
Before we get to wrapping, I got to shout out Paul Stanley Starr again. I guess you've never seen African American fans Well, I've been there before. I've been to the rink. That was for a junior Blues game, and I don't know if I'll ever do that again. It was exciting, but Afton's interesting area. So final question for you, Mike, before we get to wrapping here. Now that the season's over, regular season is over, 82 games in the book, and going to the postseason somehow, some way. What would be, what are your thoughts? As much as you can sum up the craziness of the season was, what would you say your thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything about this Blues team in the 82 games we saw this past few months?
It's one word: resilient. If you had asked me this, and again, like I hate making these shots here right now, but I think if Drew Bannister was still the head coach, I don't know if I'd still have that same word, because I think beforehand we said it was inconsistent. Resilient here is I think the word that I would use to be able to describe this squad, because I think we all saw here on paper that this squad was absolutely capable of making the postseason, but for whatever reason, it just did not translate to the product that we're seeing here on the ice. But this team is absolutely showing you that they have 100% the resilience to either hold on to a win, crawl back and just beat down their opponents here, to be able to just beat their way in here in order to get the additional points, send it into overtime, do whatever that they can. And this goes with coaching. It just does. And he's got these guys rallying behind each other and just, going to fight for each other each and every single shift. And this is a darn good, resilient team here right now.
I think you wrapped it up perfectly right there. That's exactly how it is. Hopefully the resilience continues. And I mean, I think the best you can hope for is just maybe a couple of wins against the Jets if they can't take the series. But as of right now, with what this season was, I think it's been a success with how they've done it. And like you said, resilience. That's just the best way to do it. Well, that's going to do it from us one last time. This is the Blues Hub Postgame, which is presented by Hot Shots on Sports Hub STL, which is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Make sure to like, subscribe, so you can check or catch all of our videos and content afterwards, and all of our live shows as well on our YouTube channel. And follow us on all of our other socials. Check out some written content. I know Mike's got a buttload of written content over on Sports Hub STL or SportsHubSTL.com. A lot of the prospects as well. So Mike was very happy to see Snuggerud scoring today. Another big thank you as well to Joe Roderick, who helps us put all these shows on. I know he would certainly appreciate not having to stay up so late. But again, a big thank you to him. We got postseason hockey in the Lou. It could not be better. Such a fantastic time for hockey, and we just get to have it keep on going, and it's amazing. It's the
sport that never ends.
It just keeps going. We got more hockey ahead, so expect more from us, expect more from Mike, expect more from all of us here at Sports Hub STL. Postseason is next. This has been Blues Hub Postgame on Sports Hub STL.